Welcome back to Tech Layoff Diaries. And if you're in week 5, you've done the groundwork, right? You've stabilized, you know what you want, you've rebuilt your foundation, and you've started having real conversations. Now it's time to turn on the engine. Week 5 is when you shift from exploring to executing, and you're gonna build a sustainable application system. You're gonna prep intentionally for interviews and learn how to handle rejection without letting it destroy your confidence. So 5 weeks in, I'd probably had one interview, right? I thought I was living in 2012. Like I could apply to anything and get a call back. But that wasn't reality. So by week 5, I was feeling a little bit discouraged and rejections were starting to pile up. Ghosting was a constant thing, and I had no idea that the job market was this bad. And I was still applying to everything with marketing in the title. I applied to over 120 jobs in the first 2 months after my layoff. I was doing 5 to 7 applications a day, roughly, just to feel productive. But they were all to the wrong jobs, right? And my momentum was starting to slow down. But I hadn't refined my strategy yet. So this week is about 4 things. Building a quality over quantity application system, prepping for interviews like a pro, right? Managing rejection without spiraling out of control, and keeping momentum when things feel kind of slow. All right, let's do this. So here's the truth, friend. You don't need to apply to 50 jobs a week. You need to apply to the right jobs with a system that doesn't burn you out. So step 1 is narrow your focus to 1 to 2 core target titles plus a few adjacent roles. And for me, that was product marketing manager, and that was my primary job, content marketing manager, and then brand marketing manager. Not any marketing role, not marketing coordinator to director. I was very specific. Step 2, you want to use your brag doc as your master inventory. Then tailor your resume and your cover letter to each job type that you're applying to. Because tailoring your resume to each and every single job you apply to nowadays is crazy. So pull 2 to 3 of your most relevant achievements, right? Match their keywords, show them you understand what they're looking for or what they actually need. Let me be honest with you for a second, friend. I wasted so much time mass applying, right? Like after 60 days, I finally shifted to quality over quantity. Here's what actually worked for me. Instead of tailoring my resume to every single job posting out there, which is completely exhausting, I created 3 master resumes. 1 for product marketing, 1 for brand marketing, and 1 for content marketing. And then I realized like these jobs all pretty much said the same thing, same skills, just worded a little bit differently. And that's where AI came in, right? I'd use it to match keywords, not rewrite everything from scratch. And eventually I dropped brand and content marketing entirely and just focused on product marketing. And once I did that, I saw the same requirements over and over again. And that's when I realized like, why apply to 10 jobs a day when I could apply to 3 high quality ones that actually match my core skills. So moving on to step 3, set a realistic target, right? Like I recommend 8 to 15 highly tailored applications per week. And when I say tailored, I mean using AI to pull them keywords, okay? Not 60 generic applications, and track them in a simple spreadsheet. Use the company name, the role title, the date that you applied, status. Did you apply, interview, get rejected? Did you get ghosted? And any notes you have, right? Who you know there, what stood out. This keeps you organized and prevents you from applying to the same place twice. And yes, that happens when you're completely overwhelmed. If you're actually getting interviews in week 5, congratulations to you. That means your applications are actually working. Now you don't want to fumble the interview. Before every single interview, number 1, you want to review the job description and map your top stories to their core requirements using the STAR method. That's situation, what was the context? Task, what needed to be done? Action, what did you actually do? And result, what was the impact? And make sure you include numbers, right? And then number 2, practice answering the layoff question briefly and confidently. Then pivot to like your impact. So here's your script. I was part of a company-wide restructuring where my role was eliminated. And in my 3 years there, I insert whatever your impact is. And since then, I've been learning X, doing freelance work, building Y, whatever. And I'm excited about this role because of that, whatever your specific reason is. And that's it. You don't have to over-explain it. You don't have to apologize, okay? Don't dwell on it. So my first 2 interviews were terrible. I was completely unprepared and I didn't use the STAR method at all. It was bad, okay? The second company ghosted me entirely and neither asked about the layoff, but I was ready for the question anyway. And when I finally did get asked at a later interview, I said, I was a part of a mass restructuring and my role was eliminated. That was it. It was clean, cut to the point, very confident. But here's my mistake. I didn't pivot to my impact. I didn't say, here's what I accomplished there, and here's how that translates to this role. That would have been the perfect moment for me to sell myself, right? And I missed it. So don't make that mistake. Now moving on to number 3. For women in tech and marketing, you want to rehearse talking about your technical, analytical, or strategic wins with unapologetic clarity. Don't say, I kind of helped with the product launch, right? Say, I led go-to-market strategy for our product launch, which resulted in 500 signups in the first week and 25% increase in trial conversions, right? Own that thing, okay? You did that work. Don't downplay it. Now let's talk about the hard part, okay? Rejection. By week 5, you're probably getting some no's, right? Maybe a lot of them. I was getting a lot of them. And if you're like I was, you're starting to take it personal. Here's what you need to understand. Rejection is data, not a verdict. Hiring is about timing and fit. Even strong candidates get turned down for reasons completely outside of their control. A few of those reasons could be they already had an internal candidate, budget got pulled, they wanted someone with a different background, the hiring manager up and changed their mind. It's not always about you. Let me tell you about my worst rejection. I had 4 rounds of interviews. I met 7 or 8 people, and I did an entire go-to-market strategy, free work, okay? And presented it to the VP of the company. And the recruiter was warm, responsive, kept me updated. Like it felt like the smoothest process I'd been through. And then two days after my final presentation, they rejected me. So why did they reject me? Because I didn't have senior in my previous title, friend. That's it, right? Not my skills, not my work, the word senior. And here's what made it worse. My resume never said senior product marketing manager. Right? They knew that from day one. They knew it from the jump. So why bring me through a 1.5-month process just to reject me for something they knew up front? The plot twist is they did a round of layoffs shortly after that, and the recruiter who actually interviewed me got laid off too. So I know I dodged a bullet. But here's how I pulled myself out of that rejection. I took that go-to-market project that I built and I added it to my portfolio. That work wasn't wasted, right? Like it became proof that I could build a go-to-market strategy from scratch, and it helped me land my next opportunity. So after each rejection, do this. Number 1, a quick review. 5 minutes max, right? Like, was I actually aligned with this role? Did my examples match what they needed? Is there any feedback that I can request from them? Number 2, log 1 small improvement action and then move on it. Next time, lead with the revenue number in my first answer, or practice explaining the technical side more clearly, or research the company culture better before interviewing. And then number 3, don't spiral. Close that tab, go for a walk, text a friend. Do not doom scroll on LinkedIn or reread the rejection like 10 times, right? And here's something critical, especially for women in tech. Like oftentimes we carry extra imposter syndrome baggage, right? We're more likely to blame ourselves when hiring processes are actually broken, biased, and just completely chaotic. Separate systemic issues from your actual skill and work. You are not the problem. The system, 9 times out of 10, is the problem. Week 5 can feel like a bunch of hard work, right? You're applying, you're interviewing, and then crickets, ghosting, silence. And this is when you need a weekly rhythm to keep yourself sane. Monday and Wednesday, those are your application days. 3 to 5 high quality apps per day. Tuesday and Thursday are your networking days. Reach out, have coffee chats, engage on LinkedIn. And then Friday is your learning and portfolio day, right? Like take a course, update your portfolio, work on a case study. And then weekends, you're off. Okay, seriously. Rest. After burning out from applying all day, every day, I knew something had to change. So I built a routine, right? Monday and Wednesday, I did 3 applications each, and that's it. The closer I got to landing my current role, the fewer jobs I had actually applied to. And sometimes only 3 per week total, if I'm being honest, because there was no point in applying to more. And I also prioritize self-care, right? Pedicures, Netflix, yoga, painting my house. I journaled. I prayed every morning. That kept me from giving up. And here's the truth. Finding a job is a job in itself, but you have to take care of yourself first. You only get one body, okay? And if you don't feel like applying on a Wednesday, don't. Take care of yourself. The job will come eventually, but you can't burn yourself out trying to find one. So mix in small, fast wins to balance out the long waits, okay? Finish a case study and add it to your portfolio. Post something on LinkedIn that gets engagement. Practice interview questions and nail the one that you've been struggling with the most. And then update your resume with a new skill or project. These feel like progress even when companies aren't responding. And lean on your community friend. Join women in tech groups, job search circles, or find an accountability buddy, right? The grind is real, and normalizing it with people who get it makes it bearable. I leaned heavily on my community during this time. Like my husband heard everything, the good days, the bad days, the interview updates, the rejections, right? My family and friends got me out of the house and even covered me financially when I felt like I couldn't go anywhere. They reminded me that I was loved and that I was worth something and that this was temporary, right? I'm also grateful for the community I built on LinkedIn, right? Like people who were going through the same exact thing that I was. And that support kept me going. So here's what you want to avoid this week. Do not apply to everything just to hit a number, right? 5 great applications beat 30 bad ones any day of the week. Don't beat yourself up over rejections, right? Like you're not getting rejected. The fit is getting rejected. And lastly, do not isolate yourself, right? The job search is lonely enough without cutting yourself off from support. I did all 3 of these things, friend. I beat myself up over rejections, right? Like I applied to an obscene number of jobs because I thought the more that I applied, the better my chances. And I isolated myself when the sadness hit. So you don't want to do what I did. So here's your week 5 checklist, all right? Narrow your focus to 1 to 2 core titles plus a couple of adjacent roles. Create an application tracker, right? A spreadsheet or on Notion. Set a weekly target of 8 to 15 tailored applications, not 60 generic ones. Prep 3 to 5 star stories mapped to common job requirements. Practice your layoff answers until it's confident and brief. After each rejection, log 1 improvement action. And then move on. And then you want to set a weekly rhythm, right? Like your application days, your networking days, your learning days, right? And of course, your rest days. And as always, I'm going to give you a bonus, okay? Find 1 accountability buddy or community to check in with on a weekly basis because you need people who understand the grind. All right, friend, that's all I have for you today. But week 5 is about building that engine and protecting your mindset. You're running a system, right? Not just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks. And when rejections come, because they will, you're not letting them define you. Next week, we're wrapping this whole thing up with week 6, playing the long game. And we'll talk about negotiating offers, knowing when to pivot your strategy, and preparing for re-entry without losing yourself in the process. Just remember that you are closer than you think. And I'll see you in week 6. Bye.